Welcome to Mountaineer Football Tonight, the weekly coaches show for Kings Mountain High School, brought to you by KMHS Sports and the Kings Mountain Touchdown Club.
We're going to talk about this past week's game, the big win over Stuart Cramer, and we're going to focus on the game this coming up week, senior night at John Gamble Stadium against the Green Wave of Ashbrook. So after a sponsor break, we'll do that really quickly. We'll come back and we'll welcome Coach Herron to the show and talk about last week's game and this game coming up. So stick around and we'll see you in just a few minutes.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, KM Family YMCA, KM Paint Pros LLC, Arthur Services Incorporated, Harris Funeral Home,
Welcome back, fans. Coach, good to see you. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
Let's talk about the game. We had another big conference win Friday night against Stuart Cramer, and a big atmosphere, a little cooler, so that kept us fresher, I think. Excuse me. That opening drive, I thought Cramer moved the ball pretty well, and they got down the field, and then we held steady as they got going, and they did. I know we adjusted. What were you seeing early on that they were doing that gave them that early success? I was from where I was sitting. I was trying to see myself. I thought they were blocking well up front. They had a couple angles on us. It looked like that they gave them some success.
They did a good job. You got to give them credit. They did a good job. But you go back and we get to watch film. And you go back and watch film. Our guys are not. We're a gap control defense, and our guys are not filling their gaps.
Yeah.
Linebackers were not stepping up the way they should have, and I'm not going to name. When you go say something like that, if it wasn't for Antonio Armstrong, I don't know if we'd ever stop them. So, but we have linebackers that's not stepping up. We have DL that aren't holding their gaps, they're not closing down, they're not doing things that they need to do.
Yeah.
So they gashed us pretty good for a while, and they had 8 plays on that first drive, got out in the midfield, and then finally got the fumble. So turnovers are huge.
Turnover helped, and then we get the ball and we get a huge pass to Gash and takes it down to the 6. Takes us 4 plays to score, even though I'm not sure it took us 4 plays to score.
Again, I don't discuss length the officiating, but when we got there, we noticed that they only had 4 officials, and so they said they had 1 official who backed out, and I don't know how you do that, but they had 4 guys had to do it, and I think JoJo scored like 3 times before they actually gave it to him.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it is
that was big, and it took a little longer than we thought, and then we turned right around. That was at the 5:21 mark, and it just under.
But let me add something.
Yeah, please.
If you don't make it close, and you do what you're supposed to do, and you knock dudes back into the end zone, we score on the first one, and he's standing up and takes the ball and hands it to the official.
Right.
So I don't blame it on the officials. We got to get the ball in the end zone. All right, now go ahead.
I like that, Coach.
Go ahead with your
I like that.
discussion.
I agree with that. At the 4:22 mark, Antonio has the pick 6, which was huge.
Big play.
He picks it, runs it in. That's one of 2 that we had.
Yep.
And then we have a bad exchange on the PAT and go up 13-0.
Yeah, and I don't make excuses. It is what it is, and that's the way it's going to be. But I know it being cold was probably a little different for Vance in that first situation, but we gotta make it. I mean, you can't just give away a point. You got to have it.
No, and the thing I was thinking too, and that's something that I talked to mine about. Those plays in tighter games and playoff games, and you know, like a game like Friday, that can make a huge difference.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
and
we got to have it.
We got to have it.
Yeah, I think somebody close to you got chewed out for one of those in an earlier game this year.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. It resonated, I promise you. He got a double chew.
Yeah.
He heard from me too.
That's good.
But, you know, we do go up 13-0 right there. I mean, she had to feel, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, of course, but I mean, after they started the way they did, you had to feel pretty good about how we settled down and got back in and took the lead.
Yeah, and, you know, it's just disappointing and not taking away anything from anybody's strategy is part of the game. But when you play teams that don't want to snap the ball and they run a play and then they wait 40 seconds and then they run another play and they run it 40 seconds, it wears on you.
Yeah.
I mean, your offense is standing over there and your defense is trying to get them stopped. And so being up 13-0 and at that point was it wasn't great, but it would have been a lot worse had we not have scored. So, you know, and the pick by Antonio gave us some enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And so that was awesome.
Thank you, Drew.
But yeah, going into the second quarter up 13-0 was a good feeling until the next drive. You know. So
Well, that's what I was going to say. They have a good drive and they get
18 plays.
18.
And I didn't
realize there were that many.
Yeah. It was. Of course, we helped them a lot. We jumped off sides twice.
Yes.
In a 3rd and 10 situation to give them a first down. So, but at the same time, I put that down as one of the highlights of the night. We end up blocking a field goal.
Yes.
Sophomore Deshaun Camp blocks the field goal and saves the shutout for the defense.
Definitely.
So, big play, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too. So.
Well, and what I thought about Camp's block was big because that was after there was a pass interference call, and we're not going to talk about officiating, but I did want to say that
if you watch it, and you know everybody has different views of pass interference, but if you watch it, it's almost picture perfect defense.
Yeah, I thought so too.
He is in phase with his receiver. He's on the inside hip. He's right where he needs to be. Of course, the official said, you know, coach, he's blocking. He blocked him all the way out of bounds. And I said, man, that's one of those things.
Yeah.
It's a judgment call.
Yeah.
And
But the good news, coach, is not a first down.
Right.
They were able. We still had them, and then they don't do much on 3rd, and they go for the field goal and we block it. And so.
Right.
You know, what I was going to point there is we're able to overcome the call. The boys responded well, and we did it. And then the next thing you know, we go 3 and out, unfortunately, but give it back to them, and then we have another pick 6.
Right.
And Dakota has a huge run after. What was the yardage on?
63.
Yeah.
63.
Yeah,
So,
that was big.
Yeah, you know, it was that series on offense. It was I called it sloppy. It was very sloppy. We dropped the pass and then we got a run for nothing, and so it was then we fumbled. We snapped the ball while our motion gashes in motion. It hits him, and it was just sloppy. And that's what happens. That's what happens when your offense stands over there on the sideline and they don't get out there and get to play. It makes them complacent and hard to get them going again. So it was sloppy, and then of course Dakota comes in and makes a huge pick, and that's a 63-yard return, and we make the PAT and we go up 20-0.
Yeah, and so we're staying there at the half, and we come out in the 3rd quarter, and they get an onside kick.
Yep, and Gash came up to me right before we went out and said, "Hey, coach, you think we ought to go hands team right here?" And I said, I think we need to have our eyes open, and the front line needs to stay still, but we don't need to go hands team. We're okay. So hey, good for you guys. He's got me. He's got something he can hold over me for the rest of my time.
Oh, he will too.
And they will. They always do. So, but they got the onside kick, and that was. But our guys responded well.
They did, and even on that drive, the Storm had a little bit of success. Unfortunately, that's when the quarterback got hurt.
Yeah.
And I pray that everything's still okay with him. He was better on Saturday, according to the report we got.
Yeah.
So we get the ball back and we drive again. A couple nice passes to Gash. One of them was his TD at 103, and we're up 27-0. And the third quarter ends that way. So even after the onside kick and we held, like you said, did you feel pretty good about where we were going, like after the third quarter? I mean, because it looked like our energy stayed up even after halftime.
Yeah, and I felt good, the whole time. I know how Coach Carroll is and how he feels about defense, and when he don't want to give up a yard, much less a first down, right. and they gashed us a few times and sustained some drives that a little longer than what we would like, but that, and we'll get into a little bit later. But again, that's the mentality of our players, and that's something that we've got to change. We've got to get better at. So, but we'll talk about that later on. But I did feel good. I thought we were in good shape.
Well, and two, and we'll talk about it more in a moment. But I thought we played well. We had some guys not playing Friday, and I know why. I mean, they were a little banged up, and you held them, and we still produced. The other guys stepped up.
Yep.
I mean, the defense starts out the fourth quarter with a big stop. I mean, we finally figured it out. It looked like, not that we didn't know, but I think we began to play a little better. It looked like, and we got a stop, and another big pass to Gash from TJ, and then Josiah gets another touchdown, and we go up 34-0 at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
And then the defense is holding, and you start putting in some subs, and we have some big plays from some of them. I know you'll talk about them in a minute.
Yes.
Because I know you are excited about some of the young guys that went in.
There.
And then DV goes in and manages the offense well. I thought it looked good the way he was executing. And he runs down, and then, lo and behold, a freshman.
That's right. That's right.
Cameron Hauser goes in, and between DV and Cam, they're running down the field and executing. And then I thought Dixon Velez was going to score on the one. He almost got there, and then Cameron scored at the 2:15 mark, which I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that the guys kept playing hard. At the end of the game and took their opportunity, and we go away 41-0.
Yeah,
and that's how the game ended. So
and that's another one of the things that I have to talk about later. But in that drive, Xavier Hutchins had a catch. So he's a freshman wide receiver, and it was a good catch. And then he made some yardage after the catch, which was good. And Darion did a good job. He completed a pass. He also ran the ball well on scrambles, which is probably is what he's suited for. And then, like you said, Cam Hauser, he had a long run. He had a 17-yard run during that drive, but then he finished it off with a touchdown, and so that was good too. It
was a really good drive, and just like what I saw some of the subs going in on defense. I like how we didn't miss a beat. It looked like I mean they kept both sides. They kept doing well,
and I give that I got to credit the coaches for that, because our JVs are being coached exactly the same way our varsity is. So any of those guys, if you come on Thursday night, you'll see our guys being coached just like, and we're doing the same things on Thursday night you're going to see on Friday night, which means that when those guys are with us, they already know what to do.
And that pays off.
Yes.
So, Coach, let's talk at the end, like we always do, your 3 takeaways from the big win over the Storm.
Well, the takeaways that I came up with as I was watching the video is that boring games make for long nights, and that was and I think it's hard because I think it makes it hard on especially your offense to get going and stay going. But at the same time, you control that, so your defense has to get them stopped and get the ball back for the offense. But those days, that's 2 games now that we've gone through where the opponent held the ball, let 40 seconds. And you think about it, 40 seconds, that's a long time.
Yes, it is.
And you can take a lot of time off the clock and keep possessions away from the other team. So that it makes for long nights, but I'm glad that we fought through it. The second takeaway, which I keep saying we're going to talk about, is that I really like our young guys, and we've got a handful of them that are that's been with us the whole season, that we've been bringing with us as 8 quarter players, and I told them from the very beginning, playing time is going to be few and far between, but it gives you an opportunity to watch what we do, learn what we do, and then next year you can show others you'll already know what we're doing. And I'm talking about pre-game all the way up to post-game. But when the opportunity comes to get you in the game, we're going to give you those shots. Sure. And so I start mentioning these guys, and I'll forget somebody, but there's a lot of them. Like for the first time you saw Chris Jennings, that was the first time that he's been on the field. That was the first time I think X may have caught a pass before, but he caught a pass, which was good. Cam running the football was good, but you've also seen Little John at nose guard and Deshaun Camp at tackle, and we've got some others that are going to get in there too. So anyway, just watching those young guys, that's exciting. It's fun to watch them play. And then the last one is what we mentioned earlier too. Mentality is everything. I'm not sure that we understand that yet as a team and as players. But we've been preaching to our players all year. I mean, this goes back to last year, that it doesn't matter who you're playing. It doesn't matter if you watch them on film, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what their record is. It doesn't matter how many yards they have. It doesn't matter. We've got to take care of what we do and make sure that we're ready to play. Exactly. So it should always look the same. We're not there. Right. I mean, if we're playing in a big game, we're up here. If we're playing in a game that's not as big, we're down here. And people say it's playing to your opponent, and people, a lot of teams play down to their competition. I don't care what you call it. It's not right. It's not what we want to do. It's not what we want to be. But we've got a long way to go before we get past that. Yeah,
I understand that, and if you can figure out how to get young people to do that consistently.
I've done it once.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
and it's a great thing, man.
It is when they can do it.
And mentality.
It is, and it's trying to get there. But I know you guys as coaches are going to keep pushing and pressing. I look at some of the things that we've done, and just areas we've improved over the season. Like we've talked a lot about our offensive line, and like I noticed several times. Friday night, Sam Bryson played well. Jack's been playing well. I mean, Braden has. I mean, we played well up front. TJ has settled in the pocket more, and he's making better decisions. But I know you're pleased with that. The defense has played lights out lots of times. But I'm like you. I want that steady move across to where they're playing the same all the time.
Yeah, and you can just tell that's coming from the team that they see that we're playing.
Yes,
you can just tell where we are.
Yes.
And so that's got to get better, and it just comes with consistency. It's the way you practice. It's the way you prepare. It's the way you watch video. It's all those things, and hopefully as we keep going, the maturity level will grow a little more, and they start to understand what we're talking about.
And getting those young guys in helps with that.
That's right.
It really does, and allowing them to get into some situations where you're going to have to use them, or you could use them because now you can rely on them. That's a good problem to have.
That is, definitely.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Well, that's a good win, or good summary, I should say, of the win Friday night over the Stuart Cramer Storm there in Cramerton. And what we'll do real quick, we'll take a sponsor break. And when we come back, we will talk about the Ashbrook Green Wave, which is the game here this Friday. So stick around and we'll see you in just a few.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, KM Family YMCA, KM Paint Pros LLC, Author Services Incorporated, Harris Funeral Home,
Welcome back, fans. We're going to now talk about the Ashbrook game. Coach, after what happened Friday with them at South Point, there's a little bit of chaos at the top now, which is okay. And You're so important. You get calls all the time. I was able to see them weeks ago, but I know they've probably changed a little. I know they're very big up front. They're athletic. They're coming off a huge win over South Point.
Yeah.
So give us, as you and the coaches have broken it down, give us an analysis of what you've seen.
Well, you said it. You know, number one, they're big. They've got some guys that are not quite the same size as dudes that we've been seeing so far. So they're big. They're also pretty fast. You know, they've got a running back that can fly. Their DBs are very good. So they've got speed also. But I think the thing that, well, there's two things that I'm most concerned about is their physicality. Mm-hmm. They're going to come and hit you. They're coming after you, and that's one of those things that you've got to be able to match. Mm-hmm. So we've talked to our guys. You know, it's not going to be your regular just 2-second play and it's crash and bam, mm-hmm. and it's over. It's going to be bam, bam, bam. And so we've got to be prepared for that. And then the other thing is that they're coached really well. I was telling our guys some of the things that we've tried to get our guys to do that I guess they still just don't believe that what we're telling them is true. They're doing it. Mm-hmm. You know, like a defensive end, if the tackle blocks down, that defensive end is going to squeeze. That's the way you play good technique football. Well, they do that stuff. They mm-hmm. do a great job with pulling guards and on offense, and so they're coached really well. Their defense is coached really well. They're sound all the way across, and so that makes it hard. That makes it hard for you. You got good athletes and they're coached well. That makes it hard to get yards. So we've got to make sure that we are technically sound and that we are doing the things that we need to do in order to combat all of that mm-hmm. stuff that they can do. They're a good football team. Offensively,
what are they running?
They're a lot like us. They're a spread team with an H back. They'll go double twins. They'll one back it. They'll do. It's a lot like ours. They're a zone team. They do gap scheme stuff, mm-hmm. running the ball. They can throw it. The quarterback's he's a lot like the guys that I used to coach at South Point. He'll drop back, and if he don't want to throw it right in the end, he'll just scramble around till he finds somebody open and throw it to him later. So mm-hmm. He's that kind of player. He's good at what he does, and so all that stuff gives you problems.
Yeah.
Make you stay up late at night.
Oh yes, yes, and they've got some mojo going, and they feel good. Ashbrook is one of those places where they've always, like I remember even from years back when I was in school and we played against them. They are that way, and then even all the way up, they've always had talent. They've always had size. They've just had some rough spots where they didn't necessarily get it going in the right direction. But they're one of those teams that's scary that you knew that if somebody got in there and could be in there with them consistently and could coach them the right way and get them going in the right direction, they could really make some noise.
Yeah, well, they're doing a really good job with them. They've got a really good team.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough one, but that's what we have for. I know, or here for. I know Friday night's senior night, so hopefully that'll be a little incentive for our guys, and playing harder, and still some to go after that too. But this will be a big deal, and I know they'll be ready. So I know y'all will be working hard for trying to get ready for Friday and Thursday as well.
Yes.
So, Coach, what we'll do, let's go ahead and we won't do a break. We'll go ahead and do our Butler Outdoor Designs. I'm talking too fast. My tongue's not running my brain. Our Butler Outdoor Designs Players of the Week for offense, defense, and special teams. Okay. And I actually made my notes this time, so we're going to do overall Player of the Week.
Yep.
And then we'll go from there.
All right. So the overall Player of the Week, talked about him earlier, Antonio Armstrong. He ended up with 139 defensive production points, and that included 6 solo tackles and 10 tackles. And 5 tackles for loss. So nice. He also had the interception, which is a defensive score. He caused the fumble and recovered the fumble. And so he had a pretty big night. 139 that's pretty good in production points.
Yes.
Next is defensive. The defensive player of the week. Again, if you I'm looking at production points, but Samaj Odoms had 3 solo tackles and 7 assists. Also had 2 third down stops and a tackle for loss. He had 55 production points and he was second. So we're going to make him the defensive player of the week. Okay. Lathan Feemster is an honorable mention. He had 3 solo tackles and 8 assists and a third down stop. So 44 production points was pretty good. And then, well, we'll talk about him in a minute. So we have a sophomore that had a really good night. Dakota Smith had a good night with the interception. So those were the defensive guys. Okay. On offense, we had to go with Gash again. Gash he's having some good weeks right now, but he ended up with I think 6 catches, 98 yards total. Longest one was 39, and one of those was a touchdown. Mm-hmm. He had a touchdown, so he did a great job. He's just being so consistent. He's a guy that we can just go to. JoJo ended up with 12 carries for 57 yards, so it wasn't a great night for him. We had to bang our way in to get what we had. So Gash had a great night. Then the special teams player of the week, we're going to go with Deshaun Camp, the sophomore who made the block on the on the field goal that saved the defense a shutout, first shutout of the year, and so with them getting the shutout, I know everybody said they got the shutout. Offense scored more than 40 points, so Wednesday night we're eating chicken bob.
There we go.
So everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy. I bet so. Hey, I'll also say, Coach, I just remembered this one when we were doing special teams. Matt Rom had a huge tackle or like an assist. He had an assist.
I give him assist.
Yeah, he got there and did a good job. That guy, because that guy was gone.
That's right. He was gone. So and we did a great job on kickoffs all night except for that one. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens. And we've made personnel changes. We've gone all year. We've tried to give guys an opportunity to get on the field but if you get out there, you got to make plays. Right. And if you can't make plays, we got to make changes. And we were at that point in the game, the guys that we had put in on the original kickoff team, they were off of the kickoff team. We put some subs out there, and that's what happens. Mm-hmm. That's what they've got to understand. You get an opportunity, you better make the best of it.
Absolutely.
So, or they end up standing over there with us. So anyway, but Matt did a great job.
He did.
I was happy for him.
I remembered as we were going. All right, Coach, I know you got a lot of work to do to get ready for Ashbrook. So as always, we appreciate your time.
Let me just add one more thing. I know Friday night is senior night, and that's going to be a great night for us. But also, we are doing something a little different. The National Guard has asked us to make the game a military game, and so our players will wear a little different uniform than what they're used to seeing, and we'll have some flags and things going on. So
you're not doing a uniform reveal?
No, the what?
You're not doing a uniform reveal on the dummy?
We have no.
Okay, good.
It is on the dummy. That is what the seniors will wear to take their pictures, because I'm sure they want to be in their jerseys. So they'll wear our stuff, and then we're going to change into what we wear in the game. It'll be something different.
Coach, teammate of the week.
We do that tomorrow. Let's see.
But we didn't talk about the one from last week.
Last week.
Because we were behind.
And I didn't write it down. I'm thinking hard.
It was Barry.
Right. Barry was last week. Is that the last one?
Yeah, because we didn't talk about Barry because we talked about the one
before.
Barry
because talked about the one before. Yes, Barry Moore. Barry Moore.
My wife loves that young man.
Yes, so we call him Uncle Barry.
Yeah.
Uncle Barry.
Yeah. I'm glad to see him doing well too. So
yes,
we'll be looking forward to that Friday. So we'll see the debut as they walk behind the press box and come down the hill.
That's exactly right.
I like it, Coach.
Yes.
As always, appreciate you very much.
Appreciate y'all.
Good luck this week.
Yes, sir.
All right, fans, stick around. We come back. We'll have a special guest with us, and we'll talk about this week at Kings Mountain. So we'll be back in a few minutes.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, KM Family YMCA, KM Paint Pros LLC, Author Services Incorporated, Harris Funeral Home,
Welcome back, fans. We've got a special guest. We're going to talk really quickly. If you were at the game here a couple of weeks ago, we were able to honor one of our great athletes, a good friend of my son, and talk about some things that he has done. Max Thompson is with us. I want to read a couple of things about, I'm going to go off what we had that night at the ball game, and then I'll just let Max talk for a couple of minutes. Hopefully he will not act like Jimbo, his dad, and talk way too much. So that's a shout out to you, Jimbo, because I know you're watching because your boy's on here. I don't blame you, I would be too. So here's Max and his great red hair. We're recognizing Max for his winning of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association 3A state championship in the 800 meter run. So Max won that last spring. Max also competes in cross country, does a really good job with that. I'll let him talk about what all he's in just a moment, what his plans are after school. He's a senior here. He's achieved a lot of accomplishments. He's a letterman in football, cross country, indoor track, outdoor track, and he's been named all conference in both cross country and outdoor track. During Max's junior year last year, he showed incredible potential. He did lose at the heartbreaker at the indoor state championship, but he used his motivation because when we went to the outdoor championships or the regular track season, he actually had a tremendous achievement by winning the state championship. Not only did he do that, Max was able, and Max, I'll let you talk about it in a moment. You set the new school record and your personal best time. You ran an 800 meter in 1 minute and 53 seconds, which is unheard of. And so I'll let you talk about it in just a moment, what it felt like. Did you wear your ring?
I did not.
Max has got a state championship ring, so we'll let him talk about that too. But just real quick, Max, talk about what it was like to compete and win that state championship. Because obviously, when you're going in anything on a state championship level, it's the best of the best. So you knew you had to really put forward the best effort you had ever had up to that point. So just speak a little bit about that and what it felt like to get your name in the record book and become a state champion.
For sure. I guess we'll start off with the regionals before that. Had I think close to a personal best of 155, and I knew I still had a little bit left in me going into the state. But I also knew I was going to have some tougher competition. Noah Guerrero of Croatan, he, I believe, was run a 153 at regionals, so he was number one ranked going into that race. And also they have another kid at Croatan, 153 guy, and a lot of good talent all the way around. And so I knew it was definitely going to be the hardest race I've had ever up to this point in my career. So I guess we'll get to the line, and we had our 800 staggered start, and I go out. Me and Coach Key at the time, we had talked about race plans, race strategy. I think we decided that going out nice and smooth, 55-second first lap, that was what was going to be best. And it went out. It was a hot race. I think the guy that was in first for the first 200, he went out in 23.5, which is unheard of, and that would be like a 47-second split for the 400. So I get to the first lap, 55, feeling good, and I decide that I'm going to make a move into first place at the time at the 400 meter mark. Now, usually I don't make my move until about 200, 150 left, so this is a pretty bold move. And as I'm going down the back stretch, it's starting to feel into my legs, and it's getting pretty tired out there. And I'm looking up the scoreboard at North Carolina A&T, and I see the guy. He's not far behind, maybe 15, 20 meters. And so I can see the scoreboard, and as I get to the last 200, I start to focus in, and I'm got my stride, and it's really all out from there on. And you can't see the scoreboard once you make the turn.
Right.
And the crowd just gets louder and louder as we're going down that back stretch for the 100. And I can tell, I can hear the guy behind me. He's catching up. And luckily I held him off there. I think if it was the 805 meter race, he probably would have got me. But luckily it's just the 800, so it worked out all for the best.
So how long after did you know you'd hit the record? Or you'd broke the record is what I should say.
I had previously broken the record earlier in the season. I think it was a 154.99. But, of course, I just wanted to get my time as low as I could for the season. And so I think probably a few seconds after whenever they posted the time up on the scoreboard, of course, it was a new personal best. And I'm out there huffing and puffing because I'm all out of breath. And I look up there, proud about my time. So,
how does it feel? I've never experienced that. Now, I used to coach track, and I had some kids that I coached that were state champions. I did field events with our team, but obviously I never stood at the podium. I never got to do what they got to do, like what you got to do. Talk real quick about how it felt like once you were, you knew you'd won. You go to the award ceremony, they put that medal around your neck, because they give you medals, right?
Right, correct.
I mean, how is that pretty? I mean, that's pretty cool, is it not?
It is very cool. However, during the time after that race, it was like 100% all-out effort. I could not stand or like even sit. I was so tired that sunlight would hit my leg and it would like make me nauseous.
Wow.
So I could barely stand.
Yeah.
And when we did the ceremony, I remember it was pretty hot there because the sun coming out. And I was standing up on the podium and I was like, we got to get this over with or I'm going to fall out.
Yeah. And it's amazing, like when you're going through the race, you knew your legs were, you said you felt it a little bit, but you didn't realize until everything had kind of settled down.
Exactly.
It's amazing how our bodies can do that, how you persevere. So the question would be, will it take that? Do you think it will take that kind of time to compete this year? Or those guys you mentioned from Croatoan or Croatan or however you say it, are they back? Or are there other competition from the state? Is it going to be that level again? Will it take that time or maybe a little better time?
So the Noah Guerrero from Croatan, he was a junior last year. He's coming back, but based on his cross country time, he's been working. So it's definitely, I believe it's going to be harder this year.
Right.
But I think I've definitely been working myself as well.
Right.
So hopefully I can get to the point where I can not have to worry about that, but still definitely got to put the work in.
Sure. Well, it drives you,
For sure.
You don't do it because you just want to not, you're trying to win. You're not doing it just for kicks and giggles. You'll do that later when you get old, like me and your dad. So, but right now you're trying to win another one, and I hope you do, man. That's awesome. So maybe later toward the end of the season we can get you on here and you can show you hardware.
Okay.
Yeah,
that'd
be good. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
So congratulations on the state championship.
Thank you.
All right, Max Thompson, state champion, 800 meter, and we're glad to have him and a great representation of Kings Mountain Athletics and Mountaineer Nation. So folks, stay with us. If you'll come back after the break, we'll talk about this week at Kings Mountain and then finish up for the week for the game coming up against Ashbrook. Be back in just a minute.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, KM Family YMCA, KM Paint Pros LLC, Arthur Services Incorporated, Harris Funeral Home,
Welcome back, fans. We're going to talk about this week at Kings Mountain Athletics, and we're going to do our first segment is what stuff that Drew started last week, and it has become my new favorite segment, the Fan of the Week. And this week I'm especially happy because of who has been chosen, Mr. Lenny Wright. So if you know Lenny and he's not watching the show, please make sure he watches it even in tape delay. And I also want you to look in the top left corner at Jeff Johnson. Oh yeah, is Jeff asleep there? I don't want to give too much attention to him because he is not the Fan of the Week. Lenny Wright is the Fan of the Week. There in Dale Rivera beside Jeff with his hat pulled down trying to block his eyes. So congratulations, Lenny. You don't win anything, but we tell you that you're the Fan of the Week, so congratulations. You can have like a victory in your mind, so that'll be good for you there. Moving on to this weekly lineup, women's golf regional was at Cramer Mountain Country Club. They started at 9 a.m. today. We don't have a report on them or the women's tennis team. They started the first round today versus Hickory. Men's soccer is playing right now outside versus Forest View. Tomorrow, our volleyball team starts their march in the playoffs again, trying to make a repeat run at the state championship. They host Stuart Cramer at 6 p.m. here at Kings Mountain. On Wednesday, men's soccer is at South Point at 6, and women's tennis will be in the second round on Wednesday if they won today. And I'm sorry, I don't have a report if they did or not. South Point will be at Kings Mountain Thursday for men's soccer. JV football will play at Ashbrook Thursday night at 7. Please go and support them or come here and support the soccer team. And volleyball will be in the second round of the playoffs on Thursday here at home because they're the number 3 seed if they win on Tuesday. Friday, of course, is senior night. Something special going to happen. Coach said to come out and see that. We host the Green Wave of Ashbrook at 7:30 here at the Gamble on the mountain. Big game, conference implications, and lots of playoff seedings implied there or working on. Please come to that and be here and support it. If you can't be here for whatever reason, it will be broadcast on our channel. Cross country high school regionals are at Salisbury on Saturday, the 26th, and volleyball would be in the third round that day if they win the first and second round. There you can see our women's tennis and their seeding again today. They played Hickory. They were the number 4 seed. We're hoping our Mountaineer women took care of business out there. We also have talked about the volleyball team. There's their number 3 seed. They'll be defending their state championship starting tomorrow against Stuart Cramer. Hopefully also playing Thursday and Saturday. Big shout out to our all-conference cross-country athletes. You can see their names there. Good day to be a Mountaineer cross-country athlete. Once again, our cross-country team is strong, as it always is, and we're proud of them. And finally, since we're all things Mountaineer, we want to push our basketball tryouts for the men's team. They will be on the 30th of October and the 1st of November, which is next week. Varsity tryouts are 3:15 to 5 p.m. and JV are 5 to 6:30 here in the gymnasium at Kings Mountain. So if you're interested in playing men's basketball, you can get more details from Coach Bridges or Coach Fan, and we hope that you will sign up to play if you are eligible. As always, fans, we want to say a couple quick things. Thank you to the Touchdown Club, to all the members there who support us and allow us to do this broadcast each week. As I say each week, they are about all things Mountaineer, like you just saw there on the screen. They support everything academic and athletic. And all of the donations that you give, being a member, allows us to do the things we do and support all things Mountaineer. Please go to kmtouchdownclub.com to join. Or when you come to the game Friday night, you can talk to David or Marie Brinkley, who will be up there by the ticket booth, and they can give you more information, or see Coach Bridges or one of us, and we can help you. I always tell you as well to make sure on our YouTube channel, which is what you're watching this on, to like and subscribe to the channel, because when you do that, it gives us more likes. That helps our ability to spread and show our productions, and we appreciate you doing that and liking and subscribing to our channels. Huge game this week. Lots of athletic things going on. Playoffs for volleyball and tennis and golf. And our men's soccer team are making a push as well. Hope that you could come to those. JV game Thursday night at Ashbrook. And then the big football game on Friday night here is senior night. We're looking forward to seeing you here or watching us on the stream. Hopefully the Mountaineers can bring home a big victory this coming Friday. As always, we appreciate your time. Thank you for being here and watching. I hope you have a wonderful and productive week. Please continue to pray for the folks in Western North Carolina, those who are serving and who are also still struggling after Hurricane Helene, and also those in Florida after Hurricane Mitch. Appreciate everything you do. Hope you have a wonderful week and you are blessed. Good night.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, KM Family YMCA, KM Paint Pros LLC, Arthur Services Incorporated, Harris Funeral Home,